Okay, hey, welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today we have another really cool little review for you, but it's going to start with an unboxing. Of course, this is from Victorinox. They were founded back in 1884. They have 5 basic product categories: Swiss Army knives, household and professional knives, watches, travel gear, and fragrances. They started making Swiss-made watches back in, oh, and also a little wristwatch check, yeah. They started making wristwatches back in 1989. They have pretty much been an independent brand, and they're most known for their military-style field watches, and most recently, their super tough I.N.O.X line. Now, speaking of their I.N.O.X line, here we go. Their carbon fiber mechanical special edition. Awesome. God, I love this thing. Pretty much the perfect, tactical watch, essentially. But some people, when they think I.N.O.X line, of course, they might be thinking steel, but hey, this forged carbon fiber is awesome too. But with that, a lot of people honestly think of Quartz because of all those torture tests that the Quartz models went through, and really quite impressive, honestly. And not everybody necessarily, when they think of kind of a death-proof watch, think of mechanicals. A lot of times people think of Quartz. So with that, Victorinox were kind enough to provide this particular new limited edition, only 1,500 pieces, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. So let's go ahead and crack this. I know last time some people in the comments were kind of hoping when I reviewed this watch that I would have done, a more formal unboxing experience. So here you go. Of course, this isn't the first time I've unboxed this. I opened it, set the time and everything, took off the plastic. But to kind of give you an idea of what you get if you were to purchase this, open the box. Bam. There is a lot to this package, guys. This is not a very simple solution by any means. There's definitely a lot going on here, and it's actually really, really cool. So as you can see, the review is for this bad boy right here. Man, this thing looks great. Take a look at that. That is a very handsome, of course, that's coming with some bias. It does have the kind of Marpat digital cami pattern on there, which of course, me being in the Marine Corps for close to 10 years, that is something, these colors in general, it's something that I dig and that I vibe with. So there might be some reviewer bias from that standpoint, but a little bit about this type of watch. Of course, I consider it that everyday outdoor adventure watch. Some key common characteristics and design language. When you're looking for a watch you can take on your everyday adventure, you're going to want something that's, of course, sporty, legible, tough, and capable. And man, if that's not the I.N.O.X line, I don't know what is. This is the I.N.O.X Carbon Limited Edition, and it's limited to 1,500 pieces. And basically this thing, it has this really cool kind of duality about it because it's created to stand out from the crowd, yet ingeniously blend in, right? So although it's this camouflage piece that as far as, in a tactical or a field setting blends in, honestly, any other situation, it's absolutely going to stand out, right? Because of the bold pattern, the bold choice of colors, and then you actually do have quite a few different options when it comes to straps. So let's actually look at some of the package here and then get back to the watch, because there's quite a bit to unpack, literally. So you have your basic bumper, which is great, which isn't too different than the one that came with the mechanical. But basically this thing can go on here, and basically, of course, I'm reaching around a tripod, so boom, there you go. Bam. So you can protect this awesome carbon case from, nicks and whatnot. If you're out rock climbing or something like that, you do get an extra layer of protection, which is great. And then, of course, if you want to use it for referencing, the cardinal points or any direction you're going in, if you're working with a compass, that's also a nice point of reference as well. So you do have that, which is cool. You do have some different strap options. Of course, this is a 21mm lug, so the fact that it comes with some other strap options is actually really quite useful. You get this very nice nylon NATO style strap, black hardware, as you can see, quite good. You get a very nice rubber strap, which was honestly the highlight of the mechanical, and it's not quite exactly the same, but it's definitely in the same vein. If you were to take a look here, different pattern because it doesn't have that kind of A.N.O.X style patterning that matches the A.N.O.X knife style that you would see on something like here, basically. So this is nice, and then it has the traditional tang buckle, which is great, but here you do get the deployant style, but not everybody wants that, right? Sometimes you can get a little bit more straightforward. Again, in that 21mm width, that's actually super helpful to have that option. Also, there's just a little extra tail if you wanted to put on the shorter version. If you have a shorter wrist, you'd have less excess there. So that's there. Actually, let's move on to something a little bit smaller. This little guy, I was surprised at how cool this little number was. So you're very basic, very small little Swiss Army knife, right? And you have little scissors on there. You get your tweezers, right? You get your toothpick, boom. And then, surprisingly enough, all right, look at that, a little spring bar tool so you can change your straps. I thought that was pretty awesome. And then, of course, a little blade for when things need cutting. Very cool. Now, here's the heavy hitter right here, guys. This is pretty sweet. Check that out. Man, this is legitimate. Let me scoot that back. This is literally fully loaded, right? This is not a casual pocket knife or Swiss Army knife that you would carry around. I mean, for me, the Farmer X A.N.O.X, I think it has that nice balance for something that can be kind of carried every day without a thought, because it's, basically the thickness around the handle, it doesn't go extend. Obviously this versus this, it's a much different appeal, and obviously it offers way more capability in terms of the different the different tool set that's inside of here. This is that really nice exclusive Evolution 23 pocket knife, and it has, it's extremely feature rich, but even just the general ergonomics is outstanding, as you can see here. When you're holding this in hand, it just feels very purpose built. And I mean, everything, speaking of compasses, here we go, boom, little compass, and then of course a little tool to measure, let's say if you're reading from a map. So I mean, let's go ahead and peel away the layers on here. So another highlight feature is that, there you go, a little magnifying glass action. So who needs a Cyclops when you have that, right? So you get the magnifying glass. It's a little oily. Obviously these things come with there we go, it's a lot clearer. Actually, let me wipe that off. The knives, of course, they're gonna come with a certain layer of some oils on there just to help out with the metals. As you can see, very nice. Making sure that they stay clean and ready for you. Boom. You can also got bottle opener, flathead, and then on the other side you have a can opener, and then this actually is small enough to be used for Phillips heads. You have, of course, your patented, well, I don't know if it's really patented, but to be expected, you have an awesome little saw there. You also have a little nail file action. You got your main blade, and you got a little bit more of a legit pair of scissors for you as well. So this thing is absolutely feature rich and definitely ties in with just the, you know, throw and go nature of this piece being really all about function. And then it's funny because the form factor comes from the function, and not the other way around, which I think was awesome. So of course you also do have a little corkscrew open action, and it looks like one last thing on the back side. Okay, there we go. I always forget is an awl. I always forget the name of this, but this is great because you can actually stick it into a piece of wood, turn it, and it will... Okay, guys, the memory card was actually full when we left off, but basically this last little guy here, you can, in case you didn't catch it before the memory card went full, this can actually, you can drill a hole with it, which is great, and you can also use it to put nice holes into leather as well. So you can use it for wood or leather. But again, the nice thing is that this is all about capability. It's all about function, and you know, it's not something where it's in the style of outdoors. It is absolutely made for being worn outdoors, very rugged, not all about looks or form factor. Although I think that Victorinox have really done an outstanding job in creating something that is absolutely capable, but it also has quite an iconic form factor, and it's something that I think even from a distance is quite legible. Actually, let me give this a quick little wipe. But man, back to the main event. Here we go, guys. So this thing's outstanding. It actually retails for $1,100 direct from Victorinox, and yeah, that's with the whole case, with everything included. So it's not, you know, just some simple package. Also, it is limited. I don't think they made this model and thought, hey, this is something that's going to appeal to just absolutely everybody. I think they know that it's a bit of a niche market, so they said, hey, let's not overproduce them. Let's just make something that's special. And as special as all the other gears that comes with it, this is actually something very, very cool. The dial is actually fully loomed. We do have, of course, a 43mm case, a 13.3mm height, and a 53mm lug to lug. It's made, of course, of that nice carbon composite case. It has a flat sapphire crystal with inner AR coating. The bezel is fixed, but it does have these really cool little angular facets on it, which I dig because they do catch the light in a really fun way. The crown is screwed down with a PVD finish, and it is signed. The movement inside of this one is a quartz analog movement, but you can't see it, of course. And of course, since this is a you know, Swiss-made watch, I'm sure it's a Swiss-made movement. I don't know exactly which one, unfortunately. But hey, this thing is ticking away. It's on time, keeping good time there, so can't really fault it. But I'm really digging this, you know, especially as a contrast to the mechanical one. Some people just maybe weren't all about the mechanical, and really think of this line as something that's really adding a huge amount of value and really leading the way in terms of quartz. But for me, yeah, it's an awesome pair. But you know, for somebody else who maybe was just like, hey, the standard I.N.O.X, the steel one, is just a bit heavy, just a bit overbearing. Again, now you're getting the lightweight case, and basically now completely torture proof, because it does have that quartz movement, which is generally going to be, you know, better shock protected, and you know, less liable to lose time, gain time, or whatever based off of the conditions. So that's really, really very nice. This fully loomed digi camo dial is outstanding. Love that. Obviously, my time in the Corps, hey, it's making me dig it. Some of you may not. I get that. It does have printed indices and painted hands. And then, of course, that counterbalance there on the seconds hand is actually meant to look like a little Swiss Army knife silhouette, which is nice because it comes with a little red one in that classic color palette, which is wonderful. So just to get a look there, for those of you that don't know, that's really cool little tie-in, right? I think it adds to the appreciation of the aesthetic. Of course, this thing is absolutely outstanding in terms of capability because it does have 20 atmospheres of water resistance, or 200 meters, or 660 feet as far as the depth rating goes, which is outstanding. You're going to have Swiss Superluminova on this bad boy. It does have 21 millimeter lugs, which may, a lot of people will groan about, including myself from time to time. But look at what it comes with. You get the paracord strap, and then you also get a nice nylon NATO, very, very solid. And then you get this great rubber option, which it's very similar here, except it's a little bit more straightforward with the tang buckle versus the deployant. But I'm actually loving it for the mechanical model. So I'm excited. I almost want to just throw it on this bad boy, but I actually really like the play of color and the tie-in, and something about this NATO combo I think looks really, really cool as well. But I think really the selling point on here is this paracord strap. But the nice thing is, for anybody that's upset about it being 21 millimeter, which quite a few Victorinox watches are, and if you have some other Victorinox watches, bam, right, you can actually swap out the straps because they're 21. So I think that's, again, very thoughtful and a very inclusive package. Not to mention you're getting that big old pelican style case, which is outstanding for storage as well as travel, right, which is nice. And if you ever want to sell it or whatever, then you have a really safe way to ship it that's reusable, which is also great. Now, also one thing to note, you get the titanium buckle, which is great because it goes with that titanium case back, which is hypoallergenic versus steel. So if you have sensitive skin on your wrist, you're pretty much all set. But let's go ahead, get this piece on wrist, and see how it wears. Okay, guys, check it out. Bam. On the wrist. You guys are in a bit of a treat today because I am typically wearing my watch on the right wrist because I'm left-handed. But for today, to give you a little comparison, obviously same case, whatnot, but definitely very different aesthetics. Here you have the very stealth look. Here you have, of course, a lot more color. The nice thing is you're actually going to get, of course, still very tactical vibe on either side. Whether it be kind of all black everything versus something a little bit more outdoors specific, but looks good, guys. Can't really argue with that. But again, jarhead set of eyes on here. I'm digging it. But what do you guys think? Definitely let me know. But I think obviously you can see the way it wears. It's quite chunky, but ultimately quite capable, which I dig. And of course, for those of you that might think this paracord essentially just looks cool, this 550 cord is actually really outstanding in terms of, survival. You can pretty much unwrap all of this. There's other threads inside, and you can use it for a number of survival reasons, whether it's creating fishing line, tying net, whatever it ends up being. And you basically have two pieces there, which is great. And then you have, of course, some backup straps, which is also wonderful. And hey, they were even kind enough to provide a little, that's just so cool, a little spring bar tool in this awesome little guy here that's now it's just absolutely just useful in any situation, especially one where you plan to kind of go into the field with a watch with multiple strap options and whatnot. And then, of course, this guy, obviously, for me, this is not really EDC. It could be for you, depending on, the use case, what your day job is. But this is something that absolutely going camping, gonna go into the outdoors, gonna go for a trek or something like that. This is the perfect thing to have with you. That's gonna give you ultimate capability. Whether it's utilizing this little compass here, which is outstanding, as you can see, if I hold it level, it lets you know what direction, as well as this little guy, which is really great if you need to start a fire or something like that, or if you just want to gaze at the dial of your watch. Maybe you would have liked a A Cyclops magnifier for the date. There you go. So yeah, this thing is really, really awesome. I'm digging it. But let's actually get to the loom shots now, because that's where I think this thing really shows you just how special it is, apart from all of its other, Victorinox I.N.O.X brethren. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and hit the lights here. Boom. As you can see, that's absolutely killer loom there. You're getting fully loomed dial. You do have the contrast on the hands. You don't even need to have any loom on the second hand, because the dial is backlighting that, so you can actually see the second hand tick along, which is really great from that perspective. Also, great orientation, because you can see the actual numerals again as negative spaces. But one thing I really like to do here is actually get some low light transition going, because you're not always going to be out in direct sunlight. A lot of times you are actually going to be in, less than perfect lighting there. Maybe some transitional lighting coming in and out of a building, in and out of a vehicle, underneath an overhang, or for this watch, maybe just walking, underneath the shade of a couple of trees. And you can see that it does remain quite legible even in the transitional lighting, and of course as your eyes adjust and the camera adjusts, you still do get a great idea. Those hands really light up well. And then another thing you can do is take a look at also some of those wonderful little touches and the little facets on that case, the way they play with the light. Also some of the textures of everything involved. Really, this thing is quite an appealing package for me anyway, or for anybody that's really into kind of the outdoors. Obviously, military background, someone's going to enjoy this as well. Whether your background is, hey, you're the son of a Marine or you were in the Corps, then that's great. Honestly, I know for me, I would love it if my son was to enlist one day, but if he didn't, and he wanted to purchase something like this to really commemorate my time serving, then I think that would be really cool. So I'm a big fan of that. And honestly, the Swiss Army, Victorinox Swiss Army brand really blew up because of, US GIs back in the day, getting those little red handled multi tool knives, those classic Swiss Army knives, and bringing them home as keepsakes and gifts. So obviously the Victorinox brand hold a little sweet spot in my eye, as it's weird because they're Swiss made, but they're also a bit of Americana in a way, because it's such an iconic thing, and something that really it pulls at the heartstrings a little bit, so I can be a bit nostalgic when it comes to their products. So forgive me again for any type of review bias from that state. But guys, closing thoughts on the wrist. Of course, we have really that kind of perfect tactical watch balance, large enough to emit that robust capability, but definitely stealth enough to avoid attention. And that's out from a tactical situation, but from that tactical situation, where you're wearing this more in the urban jungle, this is something that's going to stand out and I think really garner some attention, and rightfully so. It's a cool looking piece. Now, as far as model variants go, guys, the I.N.O.X line is available in many other configurations, from stainless steel to titanium cases, from automatic to quartz powered models, with various strap options, from paracord to stainless steel bracelets, and then, everything beyond that. Every other option is actually here. So you paracord. The only thing it's missing is a stainless steel bracelet, which really wouldn't work here because it doesn't have the stainless steel case. But really, guys, bottom line on this piece, it's just another example of how Victorinox Swiss Army finds different ways to add value for different customers. Not everybody wants a mechanical field watch, and here you get that full torture tested capabilities of the original I.N.O.X, which was also quartz powered, paired to a slew of upgrades and options, and all in a single package, which I think is really what makes this very, very special in my eyes. So with that said, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like the video, please do a like. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.